Audio test for live stream English. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good day, everyone.
My buttons are slow today.
It's I was just saying too that since the power outage and the storm, my internet has been spotty at best. So I will apologize in advance. I gave Mark the heads up. I may have to reboot if anything. Hopefully this won't be too overly extended and stresses out my internet system. Wendy, you got your power back on, I'm hoping, right?
Yeah, late Thursday night.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very excited for that when it happened.
It's kind of mind-blowing how we rely on electricity, like just how important it is to everything we do in our lives. And I know that it's one of those moments where you sit back and go, okay, well, we better have all the things prepped. And I know the city's been saying for every single year I've ever lived in the city of Ottawa is, are you ready? It's that initiative we have, right? And I think that we always think, oh yes, we have everything. I got some candles, I got a candle, I've got this. Yeah, it's when you're tested like this, you go back and you're like, well, I could have used this, I could have used that. So.
Oh, it's true. And it's a good test. Like you almost need to put yourself through that every year, or you know what I mean? Just to prepare.
Mm-hmm. I hope you didn't just jinx us. I don't.
No, but
I think our city has been through its fair share of all sorts of different, no, I'm just teasing, but I think we're good. Hi, Councillor Menard, how are you?
Hey, Laura, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, I'm good. How are you guys faring? You have your power back, everything's good?
Power's back. I think the ward's almost back online, just one other spot, but yeah, generally all right. We were powering off of a vehicle for the fridge for a while, so it's like an inverter on my neighbor's car, and that powered the fridge, and our devices sporadic, like every so often I turn it on. Yeah, but made it through.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm just glad most of our cities got it back. I can't wait for the rest of them to get it back, and hopefully we don't ever have to go through this again, but we'll have to be prepared for it otherwise.
Did you have a long outage?
Myself personally, I was out until about Tuesday,
okay,
around there, and yeah, I know we just got the last remaining portion of Blackburn Hamlet on yesterday. Hydro got them on, and I have one more area that is out, so we're helping them. I'm probably heading out there after this. But I do notice it's 2:01. Are we waiting for anyone else? Is that unclear, Melinda?
I think you have quorum.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll start. I'll call the meeting to order for the Debenture Committee for Wednesday, June the 1st. I do have regrets from the chair, Mayor Watson, so I will be chairing this meeting. But I do see, yes, you're correct, we do have quorum. There are no declarations of interest. Can I get a motion to approve can I get approval of confirmation of the minutes?
Carrie.
This is a small group, so we'll have to unmute and speak loudly. Item 1 is the bylaw to authorize a 200 million debenture issue. And I understand that, Wendy, you have a motion, 2 motions in respect to this. Did you want to put them on the screen now?
I'm going to ask either Caitlin or Melinda if they could put it on the screen, and I'm happy to read it.
Absolutely.
I can screen share that.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I believe that once those motions have been put on the screen, it would be in order for you or any other members present to ask questions on the debenture report, and then those 2 motions could proceed to be carried.
Absolutely. I wanted it to be read in, and then any opportunities for myself or anyone else to ask questions. So yes, please, Wendy, if you wouldn't mind reading it.
Oh, great. Thanks very much. So that the following bylaw of the City of Ottawa be given 3 readings and enacted by the Debenture Committee in accordance with its delegated authority. Bylaw 3 readings. Bylaw number 2022-166. A bylaw of the City of Ottawa to authorize the borrowing upon sinking fund debentures in the principal amount of $200 million towards the cost of certain capital works of the City of Ottawa, issued pursuant to the City of Ottawa Green Debenture Framework.
And is that both motions? Sorry, or is that the second motion?
This is the second motion. So that the following bylaw of the City of Ottawa be given 3 readings and enacted by the Debenture Committee in accordance with its delegated authority. Bylaw 3 readings. Bylaw number 2022-167, a bylaw of the City of Ottawa to confirm proceedings of the Debenture Committee, a committee of council of the City of Ottawa at its meeting held on the 1st of June, 2022.
Wonderful. Thank you, Wendy. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Menard.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time and questions and having this committee do its work this way. I guess I've got a few questions. I shared some of them in advance just so make sure that people were aware. On this debenture itself, the 200 million. What is the interest payments on this itself? I think I saw it in the documentation there in the whereas clauses, but the annual interest is what?
So Mark, did you want to walk the councillors through the interest on this?
For sure.
Thank you.
So it's the coupon on this debt is 4.1%. The annual interest will be a semi-annual for $0.1 million every 6 months, $8.2 million per year.
Okay. Yeah, and it's a 6 month. It's sort of a 6 month payment schedule where it kicks in, as I saw, and it would be. Am I right that it's divided between the tax levy and the interest payment every 6 months? I guess that's how it would work. Just it's half and half for the beginning part of this. Oh, and is that the same over the 30-year period that we would be paying it back?
Right. So the interest portion, you've got right. It's the 8.2 per year, 4.1 every 6 months. And then of course, under the legislation, we are required to put aside principal each and every year. So the principal levy will start in 2023, and it's just over 4 million.
Okay.
And that's retiring the principal, so that when we come to 2052, we will have already paid off the majority of that debt in the form of a levy, an accumulated levy.
Okay. Is one of the reasons we're doing this today because we anticipate an interest rate hike from the Bank of Canada in the coming, well, today maybe, or coming days?
Yes, today we did get an interest rate hike from the Bank of Canada. We did lock that in last week, and we've already seen 30-year interest rates at the Canada level increase. And there's a lot of uncertainty right now with the pandemic, the situation in the Ukraine, and also inflation. And so with that uncertainty, it's good to lock in your debt earlier. And that was the feedback we got from the dealers. Okay.
So just on the broader questions, our total debt that this would in the city with this addition of the 200 million would be what? What are we standing at now?
$3.2 billion.
Okay. 3.2. And what was our debt back in 2009, 2010 year?
That I could get back to you on, but your debt in 2009, I can get back to you, but don't have that number at this time.
I can walk you through, Councillor, some information that I had shared with you. I think it was actually earlier this year with respect to debt issuance. We went back to 2011, I believe. And the debt was 1.08 billion, and it was on about $15 billion worth of net assets or assets for the city. And if you kind of run that forward to today, so we're just at 3.2 billion, but then our assets are significantly higher. They're probably closer to $24.5 billion or $25 billion. So if you look at the rate of growth of our debt to our assets, it's significantly lower.
Just in terms of interest payments on that 3.2 billion total, they're different. They vary depending on the debt that we've taken out. But do we have like a total amount of interest that we would, be paying on the 3.2 billion that's been calculated, or is that something I should take offline? I'm just trying to understand how much we might be paying in annual interest costs as our debt continues to increase.
We can take that offline with you, Councillor. I don't think we have that number here this afternoon.
Okay, and then just on the, we met recently with this debenture committee. I can't recall exactly when, maybe it was a year ago. Time is odd these days, but we did meet recently, and it was, we took out some debt at that time as well. We issued another debenture. We're issuing at a higher amount this time because I guess interest rates have gone up. But I think I recall in our 2010 meeting, perhaps, we had met, and I think we were at an interest rate of 2.1% back then, or 2020, sorry, about 2.1%. I'm just trying to look back at my notes on when that last, not our previous one, but the one before that, we had taken out, under the direction of the city treasurer and the mayor, we issued a $300 million sinking fund debenture maturing on May 11th. This was May 4th, 2020. And it was with a yield to investor of 2.5%. On the difference between the interest we're paying, I suppose, is that the interest differential that we're paying? Is that 2.5% versus 4.1%? Or am I getting that wrong?
I think if I understand your question correctly, have interest rates gone up? And the answer is yes. So yeah, we've gone from when we issued in 2020, where prevailing interest rates were 2.5%, to today when prevailing interest rates are 4.1%. So it's a significant increase in interest rates. And I think, as we've all seen, the Bank of Canada has been raising interest rates to curb inflation, and that's the impact of rising interest rates.
Okay. Just so I fully understand, if we had taken out more back then, would we have immediately started paying interest on the amount taken out as a debenture, or could this have been something where we take out that amount and we accrue it over time and pay it when we utilize the funds, or is it's the day you take it out, you're starting to pay the interest on that debenture?
Yeah, you've got it right. The day you take it out, your interest starts to accumulate the day that you settle that deal. Correct. Okay.
And just so we know, because we were paying a lot in LRT over the next while, we can anticipate more debt potential, right? I think in the report, the annex that came with this, it's a green debenture meant to pay for LRT for the most part. So we know we're going to be paying for LRT for some time to come. Does it make sense in low interest rate environments to take out more at that time to pay for an asset we know we're going to be paying for over time when we have lower interest rates? Or what's the strategy in terms of just the staggered debentures we're taking out with different interest rates?
The crystal ball. Do we have the crystal ball? Really good points. When we did take out that one at 210, we actually were doing some pre-funding at that point in time. And what I mean by that, we hadn't done this spending, but we went and did the funding. And that was the reason we did it. We were anticipating higher interest rates, but there's only so much we can spend per year. And that's based on the council's approved debt servicing budget. And so we usually try to adhere to that. And for us,
am I frozen or?
Oh, I think Mark is frozen. Let's just see if he comes back. Wendy, could you maybe continue Mark's thoughts, or?
Yeah,
Ms. Weaver?
I can continue the thoughts, and I'm sure Isabel will have more to add as well. But I think what Mark was referring to is the fact that when we set the budget, Counselor, we identify all the projects with respect to where we are going to have debt, but we also set our debt servicing costs. And so we must adhere to the maximum in terms of those debt servicing costs. So, and they have to be affordable for the city at the same time. And so when we do issue debt, we ensure that they are within the approved budget as by council. And that's what you're seeing. So when we bring something forward, it's because council has approved that annual debt servicing. We can afford it and we can pay for it.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll just end with a comment. I mean, we have increased our debt, and you think about all the mayors that came before 2010 and all of the councils that came before 2010, we had $1 billion in debt in 2011, 1.08 billion in 2011. And so in a space of just 3 councils, after being around for a long time as a municipality, I mean, just the sesquicentennial recently, that is a large increase in our debt, and our servicing costs, I'm sure, have gone up as a result of the tripling of the debt, right? It's a tripling of it. So it really, I think, handcuffs us in the future in terms of initiatives we want to take on that may have value. And we need to be much more cognizant of what we're spending on money on and how we're doing it when it comes to procurement and where that funding is going. If it's going to public sector jobs, private sector jobs, those are things we need to be aware of. And so, I'm concerned that we've got a $3.2 billion debt now from that 1 billion just 12 years ago. I imagine the servicing cost is a big hit. I know some of it comes from DCs and some of it comes from our gas tax allocation, but there's still a hit on our tax rate on our base, and that is a substantial cost for folks. So there's a lot of spending going on at the end of this term. And, by my count, we're allocating up to $500 million in spending out the door just before a lame duck period. And so we need to be really cognizant about what we're saddling next councils with, what we're doing now. So I get the strategy around, taking these out, the debentures before rate increases. It makes sense to me. And my comment is not on your process or your procedure there. It is our total amount of debt and how much it has really increased over the last 3 terms. So no, I appreciate the answers today, Chair, and just wanted to flag for today those concerns.
And I want to thank you, Councillor Menard, for attending this meeting, because once again, to have engaged council colleagues and asking these questions, it's important. And I have to echo your comment that the increase in the debt that the city has accumulated is substantial, and it will really pose some difficult questions for councils to come. We do know where this is going, and we know where some of the last commitment went to. It's the bonds to pay for our LRT, and as a city, we had decided long before you and I, that LRT and the train was going to be the future, backbone of our transit network. So I do agree with you. I think that we will have to, ensure that we're not constricting or handcuffing future councils, but I do know that this is a very prudent plan to continue to pay for an investment that will build the vision for our city in terms of transit. And I do think that we will have to have some of those tough conversations about how we continue to fund other projects, but I do appreciate you coming today, and I loved your questions. I think they're very helpful in establishing this conversation. And I will say that one day I hope that Debenture Committee will attract all councillors. No, I'm just teasing. Maybe. Anyway, thank you very much. And I don't have any questions. I want to thank staff for having kind of gone through some of my questions in advance of this meeting. So I will ask if this bylaw to authorize a $200 million debenture issue is carried.
Carried.
Carried. So next is the enactment of the bylaw. Does anyone have any questions in respect to that? No, seeing none. Is this item carried?
Carried.
Carried. And then the last is enactment of confirmation bylaw. Any questions in respect to this item? No? Okay, thank you. Is this item carried?
Carried.
Carried. Wonderful. We have no in-camera items. We have no inquiries. And if I can have adjournment carried, it's just you and I, Wendy, on these items. Anybody else is welcome to join in. I'll call for adjournment carried. Wonderful. And there is no next meeting at this point. That is to be determined. So I want to thank you all for attending today. Thank you, Councillor Menard, for being here, and for all of the staff who've worked so hard on this. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you very much.